All right, all right. We are officially live and in business.
Oh,
Want to introduce my special guest today, Rob from Command Your Confidence. What's going on, man?
hey, buddy, how you doing today? Doing awesome.
I'm doing well, man. I'm doing well. For those of you that don't know, Rob and I actually do a weekly, well, not a weekly show, but a bi-weekly show on his
Mhm.
channel. So we've actually connected before, and um, I figured, wait, I'm always on his channel and on his show. I might as well bring him onto mine at one point. So just
And
introducing
I'm
Rob
here,
here.
and I'm honored to be here, and thanks for having me on and everything.
Yeah, dude.
It's like 9 o'clock in the morning, and here, and I'm like kicking ass, well, because I just had a big cup of coffee.
Hmm. Oh yeah, that starts the day out right for sure.
Right. Probably have one more when I get off this stream.
Absolutely. So yeah, if you guys are just tuning in now, obviously people will trickle in, but probably seeing the title of the video, and some of you guys may be like, "Wait, what a minute, what's this video about?" So basically, we're going to be talking about. It says women being delusional in dating, but obviously that was kind of just like a clicky title. I figured that would get some attention, but the reality is we're going to talk about just how people are delusional in dating these days. I think how certain expectations can really mess you up if you get a little bit too extreme with certain things. So we're going to just go through ways that men and women can, I think, be more realistic when it comes to dating, and how it can how it can favor you in the best way. So I'll let Rob
Mhm.
kind of just take it away first. When you hear that word delusional, because I know we've been around a lot of creators that talk about that, or maybe we've seen videos that say that. Where do you
Mhm.
think that comes from when guys say that people are being delusional?
Well, I think I don't know. A lot of it could be from the content they hear, but I mean, too, like it can be from like their own personal experiences. Like we were
Hmm.
just, I remember last week we were kind of discussing about dating. We're talking about dating apps on my show briefly, and then we
Correct.
mentioned how a lot of the women on these dating apps have like high expectations. And they kind of look for because I told you I've met some people on there. Like I was telling you, I met this one girl on here. Like I got a number, moved her off the app, and all I did was like ask for a photograph. And she's like, "Well, I'm a 10. You can't talk to me that way." And it's weird because like whenever I've asked women to send a photo, they've mostly been compliant. But this lady got so delusional, and she's like, "Well, I deserve this because I'm a 10. I deserve to
Hmm.
be treated differently because I'm a 10." And I'm
Hmm.
like, God, that's just like insane. And to me, that person was delusional. I mean, yeah, she was cute, but the fact that she was beautiful, and had like a bad personality, it didn't make her cute. And I actually pointed that out there. I'm like, you're not a 10 the way you're treating me, like, because you're being
Hmm.
disrespectful. And she's like, I'm still a 10.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I've definitely had my fair share of experiences like that on dating apps. I feel like that's kind of a platform where a lot of them can be. Um, but even on the flip side too, I know a guy that was kind of like that actually at one point where we it was like a New Year's party, or we were at some party, and he got really butthurt because this girl rejected him, and he was just saying like, "Oh man, like I'm the best thing that could ever happen to this girl. She doesn't know what she's missing." Like really, like just he was getting like really like sensitive about it, and I was like, "Bro,
Mhm.
like it's not that big of a deal. Like so what? She doesn't like you. I mean, it's not the end of the world." And I feel like some people just have this like sense of entitlement because they feel like, "Oh, well, I'm incredible. I'm this," when in reality they don't put a lot of work into themselves to even warrant um that kind of sense
Right,
of
exactly.
importance.
And I think that stems from like, again, a lot of narcissism, like, people
Yeah.
being like spoiled and everything,
Hmm.
being conditioned to like get what they want easily. So they figure, well, hey, if I'm like that, I deserve to have this and that.
Yeah.
And like, that could be a problem because that is a form of they're being delusional. I mean, but some guys they don't care. Someone's like, well, you got to do this. The hot girl tells a guy do this. Some guy might be do it for the girl, but like
Hmm.
you have that awareness and stuff, and learn, and you set expectations for yourself. You learn not to deal with that.
Hmm. Yeah, I think expectations are huge because I feel like some guys maybe have the, and even women, I think women, neither one of us are better or worse at this, I think, but I think some people have the expectation that just because they show up that they deserve a 10 out of 10 person and a quality relationship. But I think you'll find even in experience and through my own experience, I can say this is I think the best thing that you can do is to make yourself a quality person, to not not to expect the world when you're not really putting in the work quite yet. If you're starting
Right.
at ground zero, it's kind of a little unrealistic to expect to get a really high quality person if you're down here.
Right, and the funny thing is, like, I mean, so I've had people, email me in coaching asking me questions. They're like, Rob, what's the secret formula to landing a girl on Instagram, or what's the proven method to like get any girl you want? And like in reality, you're not going to get every single girl that you want. You can tell
Right.
that person's not putting in the work.
Mhm.
'Cause when you go out there, not everyone's going to like who you are. Not everyone's going to be, every woman's going to be attracted to you. And that's what I realized. It's all subjective, and which is good because you don't want everyone to like, like you know what I'm saying? Because then
Right.
you'd be like so busy and you'd be broke because you're spending all your money. But some guys have this illusion that like delusional that like, yes, all I got to do is do this and I can get like any girl I want. And that's, not possible. And I'm upfront with them about that,
Mhm.
and they ask like, well, how can I get good at women in 5 weeks? But if you're a guy who hasn't had any experience with women, it's going to take more than 5 weeks. And depending on your mindset and your skill set, it might take longer. And that's something like I think you're always constantly work on, even when you've kind of gotten to that level and stuff. I still am working on stuff to this day, even though I've overcome a lot of challenges, so that's a never ending process. But a lot of people think it's just like an easy, like 1, 2, 3, wham, bam, snap your fingers, she's going to take your clothes off, and it's not like that.
Mhm. Mhm.
Because I don't
Yeah,
want
I
to put
agree.
the work.
I agree. I agree with that. I think it's always a work in progress. I think that you're always going to be leveling up. You're always going to be learning things about yourself, about what you like, about things that you don't like. And I want to touch on that piece that you said right there for a second about how guys, because I've had guys ask me the same kind of thing. They're like, "Yo, like I work with this girl, or I go to school with this girl, and she doesn't pay attention to me. How do I get her to pay attention to me?" It's like, bro, she probably don't like you. And like, I
Mhm.
think these guys just spend so much time focused on the women that don't like them, and they're not focused on number one the women that do like them, because I guarantee there are some, or leveling up themselves enough to where the woman that they see in their mind as an ideal like 10 out of 10 to get her attracted to them. So it's like they're just so focused on that, I don't know, that like rejection of a woman that they feel like they can't get. Like where do you think that it's almost a maturity thing. Like where do you think that kind of comes from?
God, well, I mean, just like, well, the delusion that they can't. It's just like if they have this idea that they can't land a certain girl. I mean, it all stems from their belief system. Like you could, like I guess, like being delusional can be good and it can be good and bad. Like like sometimes you gotta have that like delusion in order to create what you want for yourself. But like sometimes
Mhm.
if it could be bad because like it can be it's comes from like insecurity and like lack of experience too. You know what
Mhm.
I'm saying?
Mhm.
Uh,
I know what you
but
mean.
I mean, it's just like there is no like I mean, you got to have like that mindset that that you can go out there and get that, and that you can't gotta break the spell that there's like no overnight success, that things take time and everything, and you got to learn like when to stop. It's funny because a lot of these guys too, like especially some personal friends of mine, they're in like crappy relationships and they're under the illusion that okay, it's going to get better, and they don't realize that the girl is just like walking over them and everything. But then
Mhm.
they figure, well, every time a girl gets upset, they got to cater to them, buy them
Mhm.
flowers. I mean, I used to do that shit.
Mhm.
Um, but and that can be bad too because they don't realize, okay, well, okay, yeah, they're still going after the girl, but it can be toxic for them and shit. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm. Yeah,
Because
that's an important piece. Go ahead. What were you about to say?
it's just because they just believe that this girl still likes them. They have this like illusion that they're in love with this person, and that
Mm.
in fact that other person might not be on the same page, and the like, they're getting walked all over, and it's just toxic for them, and they still put up with it.
Mhm. Yeah, man, I've definitely seen that play out in my lifetime where I had a friend of mine who he was dating this girl and basically the whole foundation of their relationship was built on a lie basically. And he was under the impression that it would just get better and like just because she was really attractive, because she really was into him and it was like up and down all the time, that it would just kind of work itself out. But I mean, I've learned in my experiences, like communication is the biggest thing that will fix that stuff. And I think
Hmm.
guys sometimes like they project a lot of their own feelings onto a girl, and they think, well, because she's so attractive, because I'm so into her, that means she feels the exact same way about me. But that's not always the case. And
Hmm.
I think the biggest thing is just like understanding what you feel, but then asking and like probing and asking the right questions and like getting a sense for how she feels as well. Cause it's like you're not just worrying about your needs when you're in a relationship too. You have to also think about and understand where they're coming from too.
Right, exactly. No, that's 100% there. I actually want to, if you don't mind, I want to, as you were talking, I kind of thought more on the online dating stuff. I had another thing
Yeah,
that
go for it.
causes women to be delusional on the online stuff. The fact
Hmm.
that there's like more guys than girls on these dating apps, and the women are being hit up by like millions of guys. That kind
Yeah.
of gives an ego boost, and I think that sets like higher expectations. Well, they're like, okay, well, this guy doesn't do this job. Maybe I can get this guy who has this job and everything. Like
Hmm.
they might not want to talk to you because like you don't have this particular type of job, you don't do this particular type of religion. But then again, like they can have maybe they can pick the guy who is making millions of dollars, but the guy could be like have no personality to him, and then
Hmm.
she just going back in. But I think the fact that could like it like creates like an ego boost. You know what I'm saying? Because they get
Yeah.
so many guys that then they set higher expectations.
Hmm. Yeah, online dating is a tricky one because you can really fake who you are on that. You can upload pictures from 10 years ago and make people think that you still look like that, or kind of fake the
Mhm.
lifestyle that you live. So
Right,
it can be
exactly.
tricky.
Gosh, I remember one time I was on this is probably back in 2019, 2020. There's this one girl I matched with, cute like Asian girl, and she just had she had pictures up from her college yearbook or something like that.
Yeah.
And she sent the real picture, and she looked nothing like she did when she was young. And like, so
Hmm.
you made me think about that when you were mentioning that people can just upload, random pictures. I remember one time too. I think this was Tinder too, but probably back in 2017 through 2018. I remember matching with a hot girl. You had hot photos. I asked for a selfie. She sent a selfie. And then when I met her in person, she was 500 pounds.
Oh my
That was a
God.
big disappointment because, like, but the fact, and then I ended up leaving because, like, she completely lied about that. Like, what else is this person lying about?
Hmm. Yeah, and it kind of coming back to the delusion piece. It's almost like people are self-delusional that they think that, well, if I post these fake pictures of myself on social media or a dating app, then the person should just like me for me, and like the look shouldn't matter. But like you're really deceiving somebody if you do that.
Hmm. And I think some guys are, guys and women too, like, I mean, they're delusional about their looks. They're like, well, hey, I'm good looking. I can get anyone. And I think
Right.
that also and because of that, and because they judge things off looks, they fail to actually have that human connection, like, and show that
Right.
personality to other people.
Hmm. That's a huge one. I think that's one of the biggest problems I think in dating, especially now, is like people think that just because you dress really nice and you have really good physique, a really good body, really good face, whatever it is, if you feel like your looks are trumping anything else, like vibe, confidence, personality, charisma, then you're just entitled to a really attractive person as well. But you got to work on everything internally, externally. Both are very, very important.
Hmm. No, that's true. But I just think a lot of people fail to work on the personality and stuff. Like I think,
Yeah.
I think in the ways society is today, we're all kind of obsessed with being cool and fitting in. And now I'm going to switch. Now I'm going to switch into another area. But like we have to look a certain way, and now something else I'm going to say is we have to pretend to be someone that we're not just to fit in. And
Mhm.
maybe like, and guys do this too. Like
Mhm.
they pretend to be someone they're not just to like get a girl to like them, and that's being
Mm.
delusional because I feel like they got to do it that way in order to get the girl's attention.
Yeah. And that could be dangerous because if you're faking who you are, you're putting on this front just to approve of or just for somebody else to approve of you. You're gonna be end up hating yourself because you're putting on this act just to get this other person to like you. But when like the
Hmm.
real you eventually does come out, there's gonna be issues and there's gonna be, it's not sustainable long term.
Hmm.
So I agree with you, man. I think that some guys, they cater too much to a woman because they just really are just locked into her. They're like, this girl's the one, man. This is the girl that I'm gonna end up dating or marrying or whatever. And they want it so bad that they're under the impression that they have to fake who they are.
Hmm.
And I don't know if that's like really talked about a lot in this men's improvement industry of like being authentic, like being genuine. We're taught to say a certain line or say a certain phrase, kind of like what you were saying before with this guy was telling you, hey, like Rob, like what's like the magic line? What's the magic formula?
Hmm.
But the truth is like there just isn't any. There is no magic formula, magic line. It's
Right.
just becoming the best version of yourself and being brutally honest and authentic with people. And you'll find the people that like you, but then you'll also obviously run into people that don't, but you have to be okay
Right,
with that.
exactly. I think that's the problem. That's why a lot of people have a hard time being authentic because they don't
Yeah.
want people to like reject them, or they want people to be like them,
Yeah.
and sometimes they may not be happy with who they are. And I agree. I used to like, getting a long time ago, I used to read a book of pickup lines and
Yeah.
say stuff out of spin, I go up to a girl on a scale from 1 to 10, how much fun you having tonight? And then
I've heard that one before.
then you do the hand swing, and now you do the swing. Now, how much fun you having? And then
Uh-huh.
afterwards, I wanted to do so. Because that was a routine that I learned. Yeah, cool, it got me in there, but
Mhm.
um, I didn't know what to do afterwards, and that's
Mhm.
something I had to learn. I had to put kind of have a shift in my mindset and learn how to become more social, and that's the best way to do it. And put yourself out there and be more authentic.
Mhm. Yeah, because like that right there is even a delusion too in a way. Like you're deluding yourself by thinking that now that I'm saying this line or this script or being a certain way, acting a certain way, that's gonna maybe you'll get your foot in the door, like you said, but having a long, sustainable attraction to a woman and being long term, it's just not gonna work out. And
Hmm.
yeah, like it's just so freaking important to just do the work on yourself and as a man to just be honest and like be authentic. If there's a girl that you're talking to or um really anybody that you're talking to and you just don't feel that connection, you don't feel like there's a vibe, don't try to force it. If it's genuinely not there, then it's not there. I think some guys try to make things happen more than they want because they're just, yeah, like you were saying, it's like they're just afraid of that rejection. They're afraid of failing with someone. But that's just a part of the process.
Right, exactly. No, and I mean, you just got to be able to go out there and put yourself on the line without you having to, and just learn to accept that. And that's a hard thing.
Mm.
That's just it's just a habit you got to build and stuff through experience. I mean,
Mhm.
once you do that, like you just don't care anymore.
Mhm. Yeah, I agree. And like as when it comes to being authentic and when it comes to having habits that you can put in place to get more authentic, to work on yourself more. I've kind of shared my fair share of things on the channel talking about that. So in your opinion, like what do you feel like are some things that guys can do to maybe work on being more authentic?
But you just like I've always just taken small steps to like you know to break out of my comfort zone, because I think that's the hardest part. Sometimes I still retreat into that, but it's just like
Mhm.
you got to pull yourself out of it. But like, always learn just to kind of go out when you're out socializing, just say what's on your mind, tell someone how you really think and feel. Like, I mean,
Mhm.
I'm not saying like tell like if you see a girl you like, say, hey, I think your sexy look and style caught my attention, and I just
Mhm.
want to come over here and say hello and invite you out on a date someday. Just like be direct like that. Or like I used to filter my sense of humor. I have a like kick,
Yeah.
I just have a bizarre sense of humor. So like it was weird because when I would go out on dates and everything, I would like hide that because I was, too worried about what someone would think about me. But I just learned to kind of put that out there, and I realized, you know, when I was more comfortable putting that myself out there and not filtering myself, it really added flavor to the interaction and everything.
Mhm.
And then, yeah, I just, like I said, small steps, like even in with sexual confidence, I just like learned to go in for a kiss, after the end for a first date. And if the girl didn't like it, she didn't like it. But normally I don't do it unless I feel a vibe. You
Yeah.
mentioned, you say you're out on a date, you don't feel a vibe. I don't really force it.
Mhm.
But I mean, I kind of, so I did that, learned to kind of be more sexual with the girl and flirtatious with the girl, and just, it started small, but as I kept on doing it and became more comfortable, it was easier for me to just say what was on my mind.
Mhm. Yeah, man, I agree with you. I think the more in tune with yourself you are and the more comfortable you are with yourself, these things will just kind of come out of you naturally. You don't really have to think about it. It just becomes part of who you are. Because that is who you are. You're not faking anything. And I almost feel like sometimes guys, even in a deeper level of why they're not being authentic, is because sometimes they feel like their authentic selves or them being themselves isn't good enough for a certain woman, or like they don't feel like their humor is good enough or funny enough to even express. And I think that even comes down to self-worth. Like some guys don't feel like they're who they really are is worthy. I think
Mhm.
maybe that gets in the way.
Right, exactly. No, that's true. If you don't like, I mean, that's another thing too. In order to be authentic, you got to learn to just like who you are. And that
Mhm.
really helps and and don't place value, like, because a lot of guys feel they got to act a certain way around a different type of girl, so they'll not be themselves around that person because they feel they got to act all cool or some shit like that. And you
Mhm.
really got to go put yourself out there because you're just adding, it's just having a fake interaction by like not doing that.
Mhm. Yeah. And it I think it affects so much more than just women, obviously. Like it comes down to, friends, family, like people that you associate with. I think anytime that you're approval seeking and you're in that mindset, you're in that frame of trying to win this person's approval. It's funny, like it just makes that person like you even less because they have a sense of like, all right, this person's like trying to impress me a little bit too hard. And it shows. So I think the best thing to do is just to be
Right.
honest, to be authentic, like say the jokes that you think are funny, like talk about things that you're interested in. And if they vibe with it, they vibe with it. And if they don't, then you know where you stand with that person. But
Right,
I
exactly.
don't
That's
think
what I
there's
realized. I mean,
yeah,
when you learn to be more authentic, like you're gonna save yourself a lot of time and bullshit,
yeah.
heartache later on, because like, especially with women, when you can just be when the ones that who you're more authentic with and they are responsive to that, those are gonna be the exciting girls. But that's from my experience. But I learned too, like even on the dating apps, I'm just very direct and straight to the point, because I don't want to waste my time. Like a lot of these girls on there just want to chat or they want someone just to take them out. I'm just honest. I'm like, I don't want to chat on here.
Hmm.
I just want to go out. I just want to get going. I don't want to, be chatting forever because I'm not going to waste my time.
Hmm. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's just you gotta put your time as a priority, and it's kind of what we were saying last week. I know we were mentioning the dating app thing, and we were saying, like, obviously, the more direct you are, the more honest and authentic you are, yes, you will face more rejections. And I think we were mentioning this last time, but that is true. You'll face more, but also the people that accept you, the people that actually like you and value what you're saying, will like you that much more because they know you're
Right.
real and they know that you're not putting on an act or anything. So yeah, you'll get some rejections here and there, but the ones that do accept you, they're really gonna accept you and they're really gonna fuck with you.
Right, exactly. And some of my best experiences with women have been the ones who I've been authentic with and just reciprocated to who I am as a person. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, because like I think just real recognizes real, and when you're authentic and when you're just yourself and not afraid to be yourself, that kind of allows people to almost put their guard down. Because I feel like sometimes, especially in dating, like people have walls up, they have all these like, they have these triggers and biases that get in the way from past experiences. But when you're authentic and you're just calm, you're relaxed, you're being yourself, you're being funny, like, however you naturally are, I think it allows people also to feel relaxed and it allows other
Mhm.
people to feel like, okay, wow, I can be myself too. I could be authentic
Right,
because they see
exactly.
that you don't care.
Yeah, and and that's hard to find. Like, you got to just put yourself out there, because a lot of people are delusional.
Yeah. Yeah. It comes back to that for sure. Like the delusion of thinking that you need to be anybody besides yourself when it comes to attracting someone. Like you don't. And that goes for men and women. Like, especially, obviously, this is a men's channel and I'm speaking to men, and me and Rob both talk to men, but it goes for everybody. If you're just honest with yourself and you're not putting on a front and you're just trying to be the best version of yourself and you don't fake it. You're not trying to fake who you are to impress somebody. You're just going to attract the right kind of relationships to you, and that's friends, family, that's work associates, business partners, relationships, romantic or friendly, like really everybody.
Yeah, that's how it goes, and it's worth just putting in the time to do that
Mhm.
and working on yourself and just to overcome that. Just kind of, you know, break free from the delusion of how life is for you, and then like actually learn to be more authentic and create an authentic reality for yourself. And
Mm.
just bring authentic people into your life too.
Mhm. I agree, man. It's funny that like that's kind of what we started talking about was the delusion thing, like who's more delusional, men, women, or women delusional. But the reality is we both kind of are in a lot of ways. And
Yeah.
I feel like the answer is simply just authenticity just always wins. And
Right.
working on yourself is my number one message to men, is just to like work on yourself, improve yourself in every single area. And then the right people will find you. You don't really have to do a lot of, soul search or searching and trying and forcing. It kind of just comes naturally.
Right.
Hard to
Exactly.
explain, but that's just kind of how it works.
And that's how you want it to be.
Exactly. Effortless. 100%.
Make life
But
easy.
yeah, dude. I agree, man. Well, I hate to cut it short, but we were gonna have a 30-minute stream and we're almost at the 30-minute mark. So any closing statements or last things that you want to say, Rob, before we hop off here?
Oh, okay. Yeah, no worries. I got to get going myself. So perfect
Yeah.
timing. No, I want to thank you for letting me on the channel. Would like to come on again.
Yep.
Yeah, and guys, just like yes, both guys and women are delusional, and we both have our thoughts. But you know what? Learn to work on yourself. Learn to put yourself out there. Be more authentic. Realize too that if you want to become good with talking to women, it's not an overnight success. You got to keep at it every day, and you're going to face challenges in your mind with your mindset, and just taking the right actions to go out there and do that. And yeah, be sure to check me out on my channel, Command Your Confidence. I do a show here with Tino two times during the month on my channel. We talk about some kick-ass stuff. Normally have some other guests on the show, and yeah, thanks for coming and letting me on. And yeah, thank you.
You bet, man. Appreciate you. Again, next week, guys, hop in. Make sure you tune in for 11 a.m. Eastern. I will be going live with another guest next Saturday, and me and Rob will actually be going live on his channel next Saturday. I think at 4. I think we'll talk about the times. Maybe like 4
Yeah,
p.m.
it's
Eastern
4
my
p.m.
time.
Eastern time. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll talk about it, but just kind of a heads up, we'll be going live on his channel as well. So if you guys want to check that out, you can check it out. I'll leave his links down below. So if you guys enjoyed it, obviously drop a thumbs up, subscribe if you're new
Yeah,
to the
give it a
channel,
thumbs up and
all that
subscribe.
fun YouTube stuff. You know how it goes. But awesome, guys. Hopefully you got value from this, and we'll catch you in the next one.
Peace.
Deuces.
Rock and roll.